Us live now here on RT International. Thank you very much for your time. Good to see you there. So the deadline for a final deal, it's been extended. Will an extra 7 days be enough this time around?
You know, I think so. The Iranian Foreign Minister Javad Zarif has said a long time ago that you know, you only need a few weeks to wrap up a deal like this. You don't need a year and a half. If the political will is there. This phrase political will is being heard over and over again because really the parties have to decide that the time is right and they're willing to muster up the courage to face their domestic constituencies and opponents of the deal and plow through. So I don't think it's as much a matter of time right now. There are a lot of issues on the table that are unresolved, but all of them can be dealt with once the political will is found.
You've mentioned the political will. There are hardliners both in Tehran and in Washington that are trying to scupper a deal, that don't really want an agreement. How much of a role are they going to play?
Well, the good thing is that themselves fairly obvious. So we've been aware of the spoilers for a very long time now, and the various parties have taken measures to reduce their influence at the table in the room. So I think certainly they're there. They create narratives that undermine the deal. There's a lot of rumors floating around that make various parties in different countries panic. So in that sense, they're able to, you know, create a little bit of chaos within these negotiations, but not enough because people are on guard. So a deal will happen with or without the influence of these people ultimately if the players want one.
Is this the last roll of the dice? What happens here if there is no deal in a week's time?
That depends on why there's no deal. If there's no deal because there is still some issues to be hammered out, then I think the parties will mutually decide to extend the talks for a determined amount of time. If, however, there's no deal in 7 days' time because they cannot reach an agreement, then they may part ways. There will be opportunities in the future for folks to come back together, but the longer this goes on, I think the less likely there is to be a deal.
One of the stumbling blocks is around saying that all sanctions must end at once. Washington wants a gradual lifting. How's this likely to play out? Who's most likely to get what they want here? Because clearly both sides can't.
Yeah, I think that narrative has taken a life of its own. There's a fundamental principle agreed on by all parties at the table, and that is a principle that things will happen in parallel and simultaneously. So, you know, the Iranians have felt that there's been some backtracking since Lausanne on this, but I think it's mere rhetoric. I think all the parties understand that nothing is going to move forward unless it is in parallel, done in parallel and simultaneously, particularly with the two main adversaries, which is the United States and Iran. So I think there will not be a case where sanctions are delayed until Iran does something or Iran delays things until sanctions are raised. These things will happen at the same time and they will be spelt out in minute detail. Otherwise, there won't be an agreement.
We've spoken about political will. Tehran's been saying for a number of years now that it's not been trying to build a bomb. The West hasn't been buying that. Is there more trust on both sides now? Has trust grown throughout this process?
I think certainly trust has grown. They've had many, many months to get to know each other. I mean, the fundamental blocks or foundational blocks of trust come in relationships and relationships between individuals. So the people sitting at the table have gotten to know each other. I'm not sure that I think the issue of trust is still a big one that mars resolution of you know, this divide and the signing of an agreement. But I think trust can be hammered out. You know, the devil is in the details. Once it's papered and you know, T's are crossed and I's are dotted, trust will become a secondary issue. So I think that's what everyone's working toward.
Okay, Sharmine Narwani, political analyst and Middle East expert, thank you for joining us here on RT International.
Thank you for having me.